Dear children, so today I am going to explain a new lesson which is very interesting and most of you experienced in this type of situations or incidents. So that kind of lesson, that is nothing but Kabuliwala. Do you know who is this Kabuliwala? Yes, you know. Who? You don't know? So Kabuliwala means you know this person, but you may not know the exact name of that. But Kabuliwala means a person who comes door to door to sell something, either sarees or fruits or else vegetables, anything. So door to door they move one place to another place and they sell these things. So those are called Kabuliwala. Those are called Kabuliwala. So now here, what is this who is this Kabuliwala? What happened? What is the story of this Kabuliwala? We can learn in this lesson. Okay children. So here, how we should behave with others, especially our parents and teachers, everyone we tell you always, should not believe any strange people. Whatever they give it, you should not take, right? So are you following that or not? Yes, very good. So now let's start the lesson. Have you ever noticed the street vendors selling in your neighborhood fruits, vegetables, etc.? Have you ever noticed? Yes, every day we get so many people for the vegetables or else fruits or else coconut, right? Different people will come and they sell the things, right? Sometimes they may cause us unnecessary botheration by their door-to-door canvassing, but no doubt they are very helpful too. Yes, of course. In the odd timings, they come and they canvassing. Canvassing means they call very loudly. Yes, whatever the things they have, so they call very loudly. That may disturbance to us sometimes, but maximum they are very helpful to us. When we can't go to the market, suppose if we get any vegetables or leafy vegetables, yes, we can take immediately from them. So for one or two things, can we go to market and can we get it? No. So here it is very useful to us, right? Like this, some people, most of the times they are very helpful, but sometimes a little bit of irritation, little bit of disturbance we get it, right children? Now read the story to understand a father's love for his daughter and see how he feels when he is far away from her. Yes, are you ready? So can you live like that, far away from your parents? Oh, it's unimaginable. We can't, right? Morning to evening, everything, whatever we want. Maximum we depend on our parents only, right? So suppose for the job purpose or work purpose, if our father is away from us to any other city for 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, how many times do you make a call? Right? You make a call to them number of times. Daddy, come. Papa, where are you? When will you come? Right? Number of times you call them. Right? But suppose for the work point of view, for long time means how do you feel and how do your father or mother feel? That kind of feeling emotion we can see in this lesson. Okay children, let's see the lesson, that is Kabuliwala. Who had written this one? Do you know this one? It was written by Rabindranath Tagore. It is one of the stories of Rabindranath Tagore. Do you know who is this person? Rabindranath Tagore. Yes, Rabindranath Tagore, our national anthem writer. What is our national anthem? Very good, Jana Gana Mana, right? So he has written number of poems and stories, very excellent, beautiful poems, and even he got a Nobel Prize also, right? So let's see. Kabuliwala is one of his finest stories of Rabindranath Tagore. So Kabuliwala is one of the finest stories of Rabindranath Tagore. So Rabindranath Tagore had written this one. on. So Kabuliwala, yes, you can understand what is a Kabuliwala. That is a person who sells things from door to door. So that we call it Kabuliwala. So Kabuliwala, a peddler from Kabul, is the main character of this story who becomes very fond of Minnie. Minnie is a girl, a small girl. That character is main important here. A peddler from Kabul. So peddler means pedals. That is nothing but almost like the cycle, like that we can take it. So someone who travels about selling his wares. So peddler. Peddler meaning I am writing here. So someone who travels about selling his wares. That means whatever he had to sell them, how he goes, that is the person. So a peddler from Kabul. So from Kabul he went there, and he is the main character of this story. So he is the main character. Kabuliwala from Kabul. He is the main character of this story, who becomes very fond of Minnie. Who becomes very fond of, that is very interested. Who loves this Minnie. Minnie is a small girl, cute girl like you. It reminds him of his own little daughter whom he left in his home country. So whenever he sees, it means here, whenever he sees Minnie, so then immediately he remembers his own daughter where he left her in the country. So his own daughter is in the country, another place. So in the village, another place far away from that. So whenever he sees this Minnie, so he remembers, yes, my daughter is also same age. So if I spend the time, I feel I am spending the time with my cute daughter. So that, like that he feels. Thus the story reflects a father's love for his daughter. So like that the story, now this story is explaining, reflects, so represents, explains the love of father to his daughter, for his daughter. So it is this unconditional love that transcends all boundaries. It is this unconditional love. It is the unconditional, no condition. So of love that transcends all boundaries. What is the meaning of transcends, children? Transcends means go beyond. So over the limits almost. So go beyond. So no boundaries here. So over the boundaries. So like that here, like own father and daughter, he felt, and almost the same kind of feeling, emotion we can see in this lesson. My daughter Minnie, here who is my daughter means our writer. So see that my daughter Minnie, who is 5 years old, cannot live without talking. So she is just 5 years old only, not of your age also, but she is also looking like very cute. So I mean cute like you. My daughter Minnie, who is 5 years old, cannot live without talking. So 5 years means those are nothing but chatterbox. You know what is the chatterbox? Continuously they talk. So she has not wasted a minute in all her life in silence. She never wastes her time in silence. Always she talks something. Yes, of course, you also at home. Her mother gets vexed at this and would stop her from prattle, but I would not. So her mother gets vexed. What is the meaning of vexed? Vexed means annoyed or irritated. Annoyed meaning if you feel difficult, you can take the meaning irritated also. Okay, children. So she was very much vexed with that, irritated with that continuous talking, and would stop her from prattle. Prattle. So prattle means chatter. P-R-A-T-T-L-E. Prattle means chatter. That means continuous talk. Continuously she was talking something, but I would not. I means here our father, real father of Minnie. Okay, so I would not. I can never bear to see her quiet. It seems unnatural. So here so Minnie's father can't bear the silence. It's unnatural. It's not at all natural. Suppose if she is very quiet. So he enjoys the chattering, that is a continuous talk of his child, his daughter. And so my own talk with her is always lively. So he enjoys that. That's why whenever he talks with his daughter, that's very interesting. Lively here, very interesting and lovable. Okay, children. So one morning when I was writing the 17th chapter of my new novel, she came in and putting her hand into mine asked many questions. So one morning when I was writing the 17th chapter of my new novel, that is our Rabindranath Tagore. So while he was writing his new chapter, his new novel in the new novel, 17th chapter, while he was writing, she came in. So she entered and putting her hand into mine, asked many questions. So she kept her hand into my hand and asked many questions. What are those? Further, Ramdayal came in. Ramdayal, the doorkeeper, calls a crow a crow. So C-R-O-W crow as K-R-O-W crow. So Father Ramdayal came in, Ramdayal, the doorkeeper. So the person calls a crow, and he doesn't know anything, does he? So he doesn't know anything to speak, does he? Does he know that she started to make the questions? And what do you think, Father? So what do you think? Bola says there is an elephant in the clouds blowing water out of his trunk, and that is why it rains. So one more question. So what do you say? What do you think, Father? So Bola says, and one more boy. Bola says there is an elephant in the clouds. There is an elephant in the clouds. So elephant means it's a big, hefty one. Na? So that's why whenever it blowing the water out of his trunk, and that is why it rains. So we are getting rains, nothing but the blowing water of the elephant trunk. That she thought. So that Bola says, is it true? So Father, what relation is a mother to you? So Father, what is the relation between you and mother? What is that? So before I could answer any of this, she was sitting at my feet and drumming her knees. So she was continuously asking the questions. Is she waiting for any answer from her father? Never at all. Continuously asking the questions, and before telling the answer only, she asked number of questions, and then she sat at his feet, and at his feet and started to drum on her knees, so making the sounds by patting on her knees, musical sound, like that she started. So that means you can understand how she enjoys every minute. Okay, children. So I was in the middle of the 17th chapter when she suddenly ran to the window and shouted, "E Kabuliwala, E Kabuliwala." So she started to call him loudly. So almost when he started, this kind of story started. So almost in the middle, when he was another next day or another 2-3 days. So while he was writing that 17th chapter, in the middle almost, she ran to the window and, "Hey Kabuliwala, Kabuliwala," she started to call him very loudly. He was in the street wearing loose, soiled clothing of his people and a tall turban with a big bag on his back and boxes of grapes in his hand. So how is this Kabuliwala? He was in the street wearing a loose soiled clothing. Soiled means here very dirty. Soiled clothing. Soiled means here that is very dirty. So dirty clothes he wore, that one, and of course they do so many works and they are coming, obviously their clothes are looking somewhat dirty only, right? So clothing of this his people, and a tall turban. You have an idea about this turban? 6 they tie, and they tie it here. So on that is called a turban. So, and a tall turban with a big bag on his back. So he has, yes, here you can see that is a turban. How is it? How he wear on his head, and he has a big bag on his back and boxes of grapes in his hand. So he has a box of grapes in his hand. That means he is selling grapes and some other things, right? So I thought that he would come in and I would not be able to finish the 17th chapter. So then immediately Minnie's father thought it, okay, no doubt at all. She is calling him means he will come, and I could not complete my 17th chapter at all. Like that father decided. He looked up and saw Minnie. So then he looked up and saw Minnie. She ran away to her mother's protection and disappeared. First she called from the window, Kabuliwala, Kabuliwala, come here. But when he came, immediately she ran away to her mother. She hid herself behind mother, and later she disappeared. She could not see anyone. So no one can see her. Like that she went into the house. She had a blind belief that inside the bag which the big man carried were perhaps 2 or 3 children like herself. So he has a big bag on his back now. So generally she has one blind belief. Of course we cannot believe anyone like that, but here that is good one only, but later she realized. But she has one belief. What is that? He has a big bag now. In that bag maybe he had taken, he kidnapped like that. So 2 to 3 children, and he kept them in his bag. He may take this girl also, and he may keep this girl in his bag. Like that she thought, and immediately she ran away into house. Yes, so the peddler entered my doorway and smiled. So that peddler, that is Kabuliwala, entered into the door and smiled. I bought a few things, and we talked about Abdul Rahman, the Russians, the English, and the frontier policy. So different. Suppose any 2 members means in the total society, like that, different topics they discuss na. So for the same age or else somewhat elderly people are going to different places means they discuss so many things. Like that here father bought some things from him, and later they started to discuss some other discussions, some other topics. And later, before leaving, he asked, "And where is the little girl, sir? I wanted Minnie to get rid of her false fear and had her brought out." So before leaving, so almost 15-20 minutes or half an hour, father and Kabuliwala discussed so many topics. And before leaving that Kabuliwala asked, "So where is that little girl, sir? Where is that cute little girl?" So he asked. So then immediately father also got doubt. That is, he wanted to reduce the fear of that girl. That's why he wanted to reduce that fear, because he is a good man. But of course we cannot believe them blindly, but to come and spend the time there only is a good one. Like that he wanted to reduce the fear of that person. That's why he brought her out. Father brought her out. And then she stood close to my chair and looked at the Kabuliwala and his bag. She refused to take the nuts and raisins he offered. So she came out, but she stood just beside the father's chair only. And immediately she is looking at the Kabuliwala's big bag. What is there? What is inside that bag? What did he keep in that? Like that she has doubt. And he offered some raisins, that is nothing but kismis you call it, and those, and some nuts, badam, like that he offered, but she refused. "No, I don't want," she said. So this was their first meet. So that was the first meet. So she has much fear, but a little bit she reduced, but she has some belief that some children may in the bag. So now one morning, a few days later, so first she has, that was the first meet, and later regularly he was coming. So later they became friends also. So a few days later, I was shocked to see Minnie seated on a bench near the door, laughing and talking with the great Kabuliwala sitting at her feet. So one morning, a few days later, so one morning, that is our Minnie's father was shocked to see Minnie. Why? Seated on bench near the door. So at the door she sat on the bench, laughing and talking. With whom? With the great Kabuliwala sitting at her feet. So she sat on the bench, and at her feet this Kabuliwala sat, and she was laughing and talking to him very closely. He was shocked. So few days before she was very much afraid of that person, but now she became very close and she is laughing and talking with him. And the corner of her little saree was stuffed with almonds and raisins. Of course, in those days saree is a different type of dressing we have now. So one corner of her saree filled with stuffed means filled, so with some nuts and raisins. So first day she refused, but now she started to take it, almonds and raisins. She had never found a patient listener like him, says her father. So her father said, that is, she has never found a patient like him, listener like him. Patient listener means, patient here means not of ill health. Patient means here who listens very calmly, who listens very calm and quietly. Okay, children. So she didn't find any person to listen to her very quietly without asking any questions. So that father said, I gave him an 8 anna coin and said, why did you give her those? So first he paid money because already she has taken that almonds and raisins. Now for that he paid 8 annas approximately, and said, why did you give her those? So why do you give all these things to her? He accepted the money without demur. Demur means without any objection. So can I write this one? Demur. Demur means objection. So without demur means without objection. So he didn't object anything, simply he accepted the 8 anna amount from Minnie's father and put it in his pocket. So he kept that amount in his pocket. When I returned an hour later, Minnie's mother was upset that she had accepted almonds and raisins from the Kabuliwala. So after 1 hour, father came back, and at that time mother was deeply disappointed, and she was completely upset that she had accepted that Minnie had accepted the raisins and almonds from Kabuliwala. She said, oh Minnie, how could you take it from him? I saved Minnie from an impending disaster and made a few enquiries. So mother started to say, oh Minnie, why do you take? How could you take it from him? So why do you take all these things every day? This is not correct, like that mother is telling. So because for mother's irritation, so without getting the impact of that, so I saved Minnie from an impending disaster. So impending disaster means, impending means about to happen. Impending means about to happen. So here something to happen, that why do you take it? So the mother may scold her, or else she may beat her. Why do you take everything? Why do you accept everything from Kabuliwala? That's why, without happening anything, this father saved Minnie in that situation. Okay, children. So